Yes, I'm live. Welcome in. It's me, Christy, and I'm here with the Tuesday tea. You know what? My cup says just breathe. So let's everybody do that. In your nose, out your mouth. Welcome in. It's the Tuesday tea, and we are in the last part of The Magic of Believing. And it is by Claude Bristol, The Classic Guide to Unlocking the Power of Your Mind. I was tardy for the party because Facebook has been making some changes, so it gave me some kind of error codes. But I'm here now, and I'm excited to share with you today about this last part of The Magic of Believing. And this book was written in 1940. I should have it memorized by now because I've been saying it last four times. 1948. So clearly they had a chapter just for women. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Women and the science of belief, as well as belief makes things happen. Now, I'm going to get my share on and shout out and tag some people in the room. And I want you to do the same. Some people who need to believe in the magic of believing, especially at a time where so many things, as I share with you in these last two chapters, what I have taken away from this book, it seems very obvious why the world is very specific about getting in our heads and distracting us away from the capabilities of our brain, because then we couldn't be controlled. Whole different conversation for a whole other day, but I just want to put that out there. So I've been doing the Tuesday tea for over 4 years now. And why should you listen to me? I have become a multi-six-figure earner. I have an education background, master's degree, and I know how to teach children from birth to fifth grade. In addition, I have been trained on how to coach teachers to teach students. And then I was an assistant principal of an elementary school. So I have run a whole school of children, adults, and parents. They're included in that formula. And since then, I have worked my business full time for, at the time of this recording, 5 years. And I have built that to what I've been paid is multi-six figures, a business that pays me that. Then I have also had retail sales each month, not year, each month in the $1 million by leading, teaching, and coaching my team to that success. And then I've started a second business, and I am working in a totally different industry. And through those experiences, one thing I've learned is that leaders are readers. And the one thing we're responsible for leading in life is ourselves. Now, I haven't shared not one thing but I have been here sharing with you a little bit about myself. So that should be a good reason to stick around and listen to me. And I'm going to review the last 3 chapters that we've gone over, and then what we'll talk about today in this 4th chapter. So come on in, drop in the comments. Where are you from? Where are you watching me from? And you can even add, how did you find me in this Tuesday tea, as I get everybody in here and share it over to my Facebook group after the Tuesday tea, where we get a little talk on and a little discussion. And I post in there quotes from this book and ask questions about how it applies to everyone's life. And this is not doing what I wanted to do. Technology, gotta love it. You can do the same thing every single time, and you come on here and it does something differently. That is the beautiful thing about technology, is always changing and updating. So you have to be able to pivot and believe that you can keep up with the changes as necessary for your life and business. Let me tag everyone in here. They are tagged. And then get over here and do a little tagging on here while you guys get by room. Hey, I see you coming in and saying, hey, don't forget to drop where you are watching me from. Are you at work? Are you in California, Alaska? Where are you joining us on this Tuesday tea this morning with me? There we go. I'm excited about this last chapter. Also, I'm going to share with you the next 2 books that we're reading as we head into quarter 2 of this. Can you believe it? We are in quarter 2. That is bananas. Okay, that option is not working anymore. See, they took about pivot and believe you can keep up with the changes. Yes, that is quotable. Thank you there, Donna, for that one. You got to believe that you can keep up with the changes, because the world is ever changing. Like the fact that AI has come out now, artificial intelligence, I use it all the time in so many ways, but there's programs that I got into it and started paying for, and then another program comes out that offers that and more for free. Like, you got to keep up with these things. Hey, we got Mississippi in the building. Glad to see you in here. Oh, I got to go over one more place and get this fixed. And then we're going to jump into this. So I do want to review what we've talked about before in here. Oh, it's the whole thing. My pad is not working. I'll have to pull it up on my phone and go over it with you in a minute. So what we've already talked about, and the 3 subjects is, let me get over here and change this. Thanks for your patience, y'all. I swear I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into it in a minute. As everybody, this is good. It's giving everybody a chance to come in here too. There we go. All right, so let's talk about the things that we've shared before in here. Yay, it worked. Okay, move that over there. Great. All right, so the first part that we talked about was understanding the foundation of belief. If you want to drop that in the comment, the foundation of believing. So the first thing we talked about is the concept of believing and how it's a driving force in our success. You become successful because you believe you can be successful. If you don't believe you can be successful in something, if you don't believe in the product, if you don't believe in the company, if you don't believe in your leaders, you can't be led. This is one of the things they talk about is I see I'm in my 40s. And so I have people on my Facebook, social media friends who are younger than me in their 30s, who are older than me. And someone sent me a message yesterday inviting me to a 50 and up community. I was like, I got 9 more years. Don't rush it. I take it as a compliment that I come across as mature, not necessarily that I look mature, but that I come across as mature. But I was like, I'm not going to, I'll share it with my mama. She's on that 50 and up crew, but I'm not going into that group yet. And when she shared that with me, it made me think about relationships and how we don't believe our mate can lead us. And so they don't. We don't allow them to. So you have to believe in that idea. And the second thing we talk about is harnessing the power within. I see so many people in my experience. This is just a review of what we talked about. So many people in my life, in my business that cross my path who don't believe that they have the power within themselves. So this book talks about techniques for cultivating and strengthening your belief in your own abilities. The good Lord, the universe, whatever you believe in. I'm not here to try to change you to what I believe in. Other than whatever you do believe in, you have to believe that if it's the universe, if it's the ancestors, if it's the whatever it is you believe in, all of it's in you. It has given you everything you need to succeed and fulfill your purpose right here on earth. That was part 2, cultivating the belief, the role of visualization and positive affirmation and reinforcing belief. Have we ever thought for a moment? Have you ever taken a thought or taken a moment? And that's one of the big things too, is actually taking a moment. I implore you to take a moment. You know, some people take those moments in the closet. Your grandmother said, I praying grandmother, and she went in the closet. She was taking a moment to center herself and believe. Now, if in that moment, what we talked about in this story, if in that moment you're praying in the closet, but before you even open the door to get out the closet, you're already saying how it's not going to work, then the Lord, the God that we believe in, the universe, the ancestors, like if you believe in the answers are telling you that you have these things to do, but before you finish listening to them, you already walked out and believe that it's not going to work. Well, that's what they talk about. Number 2 is visualizing and seeing it. Like right now, I ride down the road and I see for rent and for sale in office buildings, and I see myself with my team in those buildings. I visualize it. I speak positively, and overcoming the self-doubt and a negative thinking pattern. So if you have a problem, if you are having difficulty, you're like, I know I need to visualize. I do it, but as soon as I visualize, it jumps right to that it can't happen. If that self-doubt is creeping in too much, grab the book, The Magic of Believing, and read it over and over and over and over again. So that if you're reading the Bible and you find that you can't understand it yourself, then you have to work on, because it's hard to pull from a book that you can't understand yourself. Self-relying on somebody else to tell us what the book is saying? No, we got to work on whatever it is that keeps us from being able to understand it ourselves. Okay. Then the part 3, I haven't even gotten to the part for this part right here, but I wanted to go back a little bit for those who are just now joining us in here and realizing that you need to go back and catch the beginning, part 1, part 2. Part 3 was applying the belief in action. So you believe now, you know how to overcome your self-doubt. Now it's the action piece. This is true in all things in life. We go to all these conferences, we go all these Bible studies, we go to all of these coaching sessions, and all this is great, but it becomes amazing when you actually take action on the things that you've been taught. You fail in the things that you've been taught, and you figure out how you can make it work for your life, your personality, your circumstances, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in part 4. So part 3 was transforming your dreams into reality. Somebody dropped that in the comments. Transforming your dreams into reality equals action. Transforming. So dreams into action is the reality. Transform your dreams into reality. How do you do that? You set goals and create a mindset conducive to success. Well, they talk about in chapter 1 and chapter 2. What is that mindset? That mindset is believing, overcoming obstacles and setbacks, and unwavering belief. Now we are in part 4 today. Oh, this tea about to be piping. I hope you got the seatbelt on. I hope you had drank your caffeine today. I hope you bookmark this. I hope you go ahead and follow me over on and subscribe to me over there on YouTube so that you can go back and listen to this again, because I'm about to step on some toes, but it's not me. It's the book right here, The Magic of Believing, the classic guide to unlocking the power of your mind. Now, listen, this book, this is why it's important about your circle and who you keep around you, because this book was recommended to me by my current mentor, who has made 6 figures a month. And he was like, read this book. And I was like, no questions asked. When an opportunity is given by someone who has reached the success that you want in life, you don't ask questions, you just go get it done. So I went and got it done, and I'm sharing with you my community. So today we're talking about sustaining belief for long-term success. Belief, sustaining it for long-term success. You know what some of us call this? Consistency. And I really have thrown that word away. I hate the word consistency, because people say I need to be consistent, but then take no action. You can't be consistent without action. Sustaining your belief. So once this book is over, I'm not coming here and talking about the Tuesday tea when it comes to the magic of believing, but this will be applied to every book we're going to read after this, to every life circumstances that comes your way. All of the things, thank you, we got there, transforming your dream into reality. Today, it's going to be about maintaining your belief when challenges and failures being a continuous part of success, come your way. Strategies for staying motivated and focused on long-term goals. I'm telling you, the strategy for staying motivated is not saying I need to be motivated or I need my leader to motivate me. Then cultivating resilience, navigating through life's ups and downs while maintaining belief in yourself and in your vision. So let's take it to the book. All right. The first thing he talks about in this section is how to project your thoughts. Ooh. Now, here's the thing. It's the magic of believing. If you don't believe that you can project your thoughts, then you got to go back to chapter 1. I believe you can project your thoughts. Here's the great thing about projecting your thoughts, because the idea is that if it's in your head, you can you're not saying anything, but the people around you are picking up on this. Okay. Now, the idea, you can read this book to get more details on it, but the idea that I take away is at minimum, if you don't fully believe in this concept, that I can say something in my head and the people in the room will fall in line with it. If you don't believe that concept, if nothing else, I believe that you should believe that if you say it enough in your head, your body and your actions and your facial expressions and the confidence that you have will then flow through you, and people will see those things. So they may not actually, let's just say you don't believe in that they're actually picking up on your wavelength and they're picking on what you're thinking. Let's say you don't believe that. Could you just for a moment believe that if you say they're going to take this opportunity that I'm talking about, that will happen because you believe what you're saying to yourself? Self-talk is important. You believe what you're saying to yourself, and so your body falls in line. You know, your brain actually just believes what you tell it, whether it's true or not. This is how people walk around or walk into the rooms, how they own it, because they believe, they've told their brain that they do own the room, and so everything else falls in line. When you walk into the room and say to yourself, like, I don't know if I belong here, I don't know if there's a space for me at this table, then no space is made because your brain has your body operate. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. Let me get to the book. It says, first line on page 106, success is a matter of never ceasing application. You can't stop applying the things that you know to be true. It is continuous, never ceasing application. In this day, in this time, I believe that the work that we have to do as people, as women, as men, as humans to continue to be successful is more work than our grandparents had to do. Now, different work, maybe not more. Maybe we'll just say it's different work, because we might say our great grandparents had to worry about prejudices and racism and laws that went against what they want to do. But here's the thing, they also didn't have to fight against seeing what people across the street did. If you didn't live in a small town, they didn't know what you were doing. So they were just competing with the person, being better than the person. If they didn't have their blinders on, they were competing with the person in their town, not realizing that people outside their town were doing 10 times more than the boss in the town. So they could say we have it easy, and we could say they have it easy. The problem is, or the thing that has to stay consistent is never ceasing the application of what we know to be true. You must forever work at it diligently. We can't get tired of keep telling ourselves that we can do it. It is in me. I believe I was made for greater, and I will show up in that today, tomorrow, and every day the Lord has put breath in my body. You don't get to take a day off of positive self-talk, of believing in yourself, of creating goals, of looking at those goals and resetting them based on things that happen in your life. Like, you may have, this is the difference between the person that never ceases and the person that ceases. The person that never ceases, at the beginning of the year, they make their goals. Making their goals based on what they predict is going to happen in their life. They predict they're going to stay married. They predict that they're going to be able to afford their house. They predict that they're going to keep their job. They predict that their kids are going to act right because they acted right last year. So you set these goals based on all these predictions. And then 2 days, 2 weeks, hell, 2 hours or 2 minutes after you spend the time taking a break, walking away, giving a breather in the prayer closet, as soon as you walk out of there, all the things you predicted were going to be in place are not in place. The job lets you go. Your husband cheats. Your kids are suspended. The price of gas went up and your pay did not. All these things fall into place that go against your goals. And so instead of throwing the goals away, which is how you transform your dreams into reality, that was on part 3 of this Tuesday tea. Instead of throwing those goals away and keeping the mindset that's conducive to success, you know what we do? We work at it diligently, and we never cease the application. We create new goals based on the new environment that we find ourselves in that was outside our control. Because we instead of spending our time thinking about, well, if I would have done this, if I could have done this, if I should have done this, maybe he wouldn't have cheated. If I would have done this or could have done this, maybe I still had the job. No, those are things we cannot control. And because we believe, I am in circles with people that believe no matter what, they're going to be a success. It was their birthright. It was given to them. So when struggle, strife, and challenges come their way, they never cease to apply the gifts that were given to them, to apply the basics of having goal setting and creating a mindset. It's not that they don't experience life's problems like the rest of us do. They just never cease application of what they know will work. We get bogged down thinking like we've made it. Oh, I should have to do this again. I've already built a building to 6 figures. I built a company to 6 figures. Oh, now I got to go back to the drawing board. But you know what? You go back to the drawing board because you believe that everything you've been given is in you. So you go back to the drawing board. But here's the best part about it. Is that if it took you 12 years, I'm talking to myself, if it took you 12 years to make $1 million in business, then it won't take you 12 years the next time around because you've already learned the failure. So when you fail in the next thing, the bounce back will take a day or 2 days or 2 months as opposed to the year it took before. Never ceasing application. Listen, that's just the first sentence. Y'all hear me? That's just the first sentence. Okay, let me calm down because I get excited. Now, it says most people fall by the wayside because they are never starting anything. Oh! Most people are failing because I didn't say fail. Most people fall by the wayside because they are never starting anything. He says right here, one man I know who has many achievements to his credit and who has passed the 70 mark declared that most people fall by the wayside because they are never starting anything. He says, I make it a plan and have for years to start something new. That is new for me at least once a week. It may be only the making of some simple gadget for in the kitchen, or it may be an entirely new sales plan or reading an unfamiliar book. I find in following this plan, not only that I keep my body and mind active, but also that I put to use a lot of imaginative qualities that otherwise might fall asleep and atrophy. This idea of a man's retiring when he's 60 is to me a great mistake. As soon as a man retires and quits being active mentally and physically, he's on his way to his grave in a short order. This book was written in 1948. Is it still true today as it was then? Yes, yes, and more yes. All right, we're going to keep moving because this is not even the tea of the day. This part I like right here. The 3 words are initiative, interest, and attention. It's only on page 2 of this part 4. Like, listen, there's so many gems in this. It says the more interest you take in your work, naturally, the more attention you give it, and the greater are the results. You have to take initiative. You must have interest, and then you give it attention, and then you get results. Period. Y'all want the formula for success? If you don't have any interest in what you're doing, we will never be a success in this, whatever it is. It takes initiative. You want your relationship to be a success? It takes initiative. You must be interested in it. And then when you're interested in it, you give it more attention. And when you give it attention, you get results. In one of my businesses, I always say, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Because what do we tend to do with things that we're having fun in? We have interest in it if it's fun for us. We take initiative if it's fun for us. If you like planning parties, then you take the initiative for this to be the best party ever. Me, I hate planning parties. I don't like planning events. I overthink it. I will postpone. I'll put it off until the very last minute because I'm thinking to myself like, oh, what if I don't do this right? What if I don't like it? Planning events is not my thing. The details of the events, or what I'm great at, is being able to have an event planner who's going to miss certain things. Like I'm good at filling in the gaps of whatever somebody's doing. So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something that I don't know anything about, which could be like electrical engineering. I don't know anything about electrical engineering. So I'm not going to map out the plan for putting the electrical up, But I will, as I'm listening to you, is natural for me to be like, have you thought about this? Well, what's going to happen for this? All right. I don't like event planning, but I'm the great person to have on the team who's going to be like, so when they come in, what are they going to do next? Oh, I didn't think about when they come in. And this is how, let's say, for example, it's an event and somebody plans an event and it's bottlenecked in the ticket line where people are coming in the ticket line. All right. And that's because somebody like me may not have been on a team that's going to say, okay, how many people are you expecting at this event? 200. Okay. So if a quarter of them show up in the first 30 minutes, that's 50 people show up in the first 30 minutes. What will happen if you only have one person at the desk checking them in? Oh, it'll be a line. Are you okay with it being a line? Does that look good for the other people who are coming? Or the people who haven't bought a ticket but are going to ride by and be like, oh, I want to go, but I'm not standing on line. Okay, if that's not going to look good, do you need 2 people at the registration so that the line looks short and more people who are passing by are going to be willing to come in? That's what I'm good at. Okay, is figuring out the smaller details that somebody who's great at the bigger thing may not think about, or knowing what your end goal is and me asking you questions to make sure that what you have in place gets you to your end goal. Because this is what happens sometimes. People create a plan, but the plan doesn't get them to the end goal. It's like, it looks good. I'm not a person that cares about how things look. I'm a person that cares about the goal being met. So the party may look amazing, but you ain't make no money. What was your goal? Was your goal to look, or was your goal to look and to make money? All right. So I'll help with, that's my good thing, right? It says the more interest you take, initiative, interest, and attention. Now, employee mindset, I get it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with an employee mindset if your end goal is to stay an employee. But if you're working on a hustle, which is our next book, Side Hustle, and I'll show that to you, the picture of it, so you know which book to grab. Actually, yeah. The next book is Side Hustle. Many employees hold to the idea that their work is given to them merely that they may further the interest of their employers. Employees never entertain the thought that they are actually working for themselves. The employer is merely furnishing the tools and the place for the employee to work. That is the T. Yes, Cher, I'm definitely analytical for sure. That is the T. This is how, when people say, how are you able to transfer your skills of being an assistant principal or a teacher to running a full-time business? Because I never looked at myself as an employee. I didn't look at my assistant principal job being where my job was to fulfill the superintendent's mission. Yes, I need to fulfill their mission. That's the only way you move up. It's the only way you get accolades. I do like recognition for my work. That's why I do good work, so I can be recognized. I do like it. Like, recognition is not important to some people. It is important. I like it. I will not sit here and say, yes, I want to help people, but when I help them, I also like being recognized for helping. All right. So when I worked as an assistant principal, this is why I tell people all the time, you can, whatever you really want to do in life, you can get that out of your job if you apply it correctly, right? So in this situation, it says applying, working for themselves, the employer merely furnishing the tools and the place for the employee to work. So I knew I wanted to have not necessarily a full-time business, but I need to have side hustles, because being a teacher was not going to supply me with the money to give me the lifestyle I wanted to live. I knew that. But I didn't say to myself, well, I just can't have the lifestyle I want because I'm going to be a teacher. No. I said, I know I could be a good teacher and also have the lifestyle I want. So I had side hustles. They became full-time businesses. So I knew I needed to grow as a leader. So guess who volunteered for leadership trainings? Me, not to help. Now, obviously, when I learned how to be a better leader, I was going to apply it to the job, but I was learning how to be a better leader so I could apply it to my business. It was a win-win. Are you using the free tools and resources available? Are you saying yourself, I don't get paid to do that? That ain't my job. You don't know how to do Excel spreadsheets. So many people come to me and say, I don't know how to do Excel spreadsheets. One of the top 11 skills needed to be a success whether in business or as an employee, is to have data analytical skills, is to be able to analyze data. Well, where is most data coming to us in any employer? In spreadsheets. So instead of saying, that ain't my job to look at them spreadsheets, how about you let them give you free training? Your employer will, McDonald's has opportunities for trainees to go to trainings, like the path to a manager. You may say stuff, I don't want to be a manager at McDonald's. Fine, don't. But there's no reason you don't have to let your employer believe that. Let your employer believe that you want to be a manager at McDonald's, so you can get the leadership training, so you can get the spreadsheet, because the manager has to be able to read the spreadsheets about how much fries are coming in, how many fries are going out, and you use that experience to better yourself in life. That's the T. That's on page, the magic of believing, how to project your thoughts. We haven't even got to that part, the really projecting your thoughts. All right, let me jump to this. So he says, if you work for a man, for goodness sake, work for him. All right. That's what Elbert Hubbard said, which brings me to a failing of many people with whom I've worked for over a period of years: lack of interest in their jobs. They make no effort to learn anything outside the small sphere in which the jobs place them. Once I made a wager with the executive of a large concern whose name was frequently in the newspaper that I could find at least 20 people in his local organization who had never heard of him. So this is an example of your employer being a head of a business, CEO, and your employees don't know who you are. Learn the names of the men who head the company and something of their history. This is the T. Listen, I recently went to a career day at an elementary school, and guess, I have not been in the school district for 5 years. I had been gone as the assistant principal for 5 years, building my own business. And I went back, give the community, I went to career day for elementary school, and here comes the superintendent coming down the hallway, and he was like, hey, stay busy. And he gave me a hug. Because guess who knew the superintendent? I did. Not because I was trying to move up. Not because I knew, it says on page 113, learn the names of the men or women who head the company and something of their history. You may not ever want to be moving up in that company, but you should know them. The superintendent or the CEO shouldn't walk in your building and you be clueless about who they are. You should know what they look like. You should already know their history so that you can speak to it. Hey, such and such, I heard that you have this going on in your life. That is so amazing. And you walk on by yourself. Guess what that person is going to be like to their people who's that? They're going to remember that, because other people are looking to get something from them, but you just gave them accolades on something that they're already doing that other people wouldn't even know about. How to project your thoughts. These are things that lead to projecting your thoughts. On page 113, it says, how much do you know about your company and its policies, both inside and out? Think for yourself and grow. It says, for example, you see an automobile on a country road. Consider for a moment how many ideas can be derived from the mental picture of the automobile. You're picturing right now an automobile on a road. This is how you project your thoughts. It's made of steel, plastic, each furnishing major ideas that can be broken up to many others. Then we consider the wheels and the tires. We also think of the roads that they're traveled on, their construction of the roads. Then we think of the oil and the gasoline, which brings further ideas to association. And before we know it, we've started with an association of ideas that is seemingly endless. The difference between those who become successful or not is when I say picture a car on a road, all you're doing is picturing a whole vehicle on a road. But the person who is able to be successful, no matter what room you put them in, is that when they pictured a car on a road, they're thinking about all the parts of the car, all the ways money can be made, all the hands that go into the construction of this car and this road. So they're picturing the tires, the wheels, the oil, the gas, the windshield wiper fluid. Those are all people, jobs, and money that is applied to that creation of that car. Then you think about the road, who cleans them, who put it together, who drew the lines on them, who drew the plans for the road to be there. This is the entire picture that many of us will miss. This is how a single idea in business happens. This is how I think. When I see a business opportunity, when somebody comes to me with an opportunity, instead of saying, no, I'm not going to do that, I think to myself like, ooh, so this involves realtors. Ooh, so this involves homeowners. Ooh, so this involves roofers. Like I'm in solar panels and I'm a solar consultant. And so I do free savings analyses for homeowners to see if solar is good for their home. So I'm thinking to myself, well, the one thing they have to do before you put solar panels on it is have a good roof. So what if I encounter someone who hasn't gotten a roof done? I could be partnering with a roofer and send them a person who needs their roof done because they're interested in solar panels and they can't get it yet because their roof is 20 years old. So I could say, hey, here I have 3 referrals, just like a realtor does when they're getting your house, and they say, hey, I have 3 lenders. And the 3 lenders are, one's good for somebody who has a high credit score, one's good for somebody who has a medium credit score, and one lender is good for somebody who has a low credit score. Well, I could have 3 roofers, one that works for people who have 10,000 square foot homes, and one that's good for people who need financing for their roof, or one that's good for people who need insurance. That is another stream that I could build, because when I see a house that needs solar panels, I don't just see that house. The people that I can employ for the house. I don't just see, I think of insurance people like, oh, we're looking for, oh, your insurance company doesn't cover you should probably look into this insurance company. So I filter them to State Farm or to American Family or to USAA. And I'm saying you might want to consider, because I've worked with people who can give you a better deal for your premium, or what is that you got to pay in order to get something done from the insurance, your whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about? You have to understand the entire picture. This is what they mean by creating multiple streams of income. It's not like a bull that doesn't have any connection with solar panels, that doesn't have any connection with jewelry, that doesn't have any connection with makeup. Then you're all over the place. And none of these get built up to a multi-6-figure profit. Deductible. Thank you, Jennifer. But you build one until it's very successful, it's bringing you residual income. You have it on autopilot, i.e. life I'm living. Then you can build something that's far on the right. But you got trickles of streams of things that are not connected at all. The magic of believing. See, this is what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the magic of believing is going to make things work that don't work. I'm just saying that we all have the capability of making things that have been proven to work. 7 streams of income has not been proven to be fruitful for people who have never made one stream 6 figures. But we're hearing from millionaires and billionaires saying we need 7 streams because they built one stream to multiple 6 figures, to a 7-figure status. Then they built other streams out of that. Or then they were able to go and do what they really loved, which wasn't even related to what made them 6 or 7 figures. So I'm not saying that through reading this book that the magic of believing makes things that aren't possible at all just happen. I'm just saying that we can do way more things that we think we're capable of doing successfully, one thing, and building it, if we believe it can be done. And we cultivate that over no matter what life brings us. We have resilience and we adapt ourselves to creating new goals, to pivoting our goals, to surrounding ourselves with positive people who are going to feed positivity in us when the world is telling us that we can't do things. Let me tell you about this world. I work out every Wednesday and Friday morning with my husband. And one day I forgot my headphones. And so all I could do was listen to what was playing in the Planet Fitness and see what was on the TV screens. Well, I don't watch the news. And everything on the news screen, I'm talking about all the news screens going down was negative, 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 negative. You know what I saw that was positive? It was a commercial. And I saw Magic of Believing when I saw the commercial of I don't know what they were selling, but they were on a boat and they were sailing out to sea, and then they were on the beach and they were smiling and having a good time. So I didn't picture them. This is where it talks about in the second part is visualization. I visualize while I'm working on this treadmill. I visualized me on that boat. I visualized me paying for that trip without it having to be charged to a credit card. Or if I charged it to a credit card, it was only so that I can get the points and then paid it off immediately. That's literally what I was picturing there. And then that commercial went away and it went to CNN and it was showing the Mexican border, was it Texas, and the Mexican border, and how the Mexicans were trying to get over and the army was there trying to keep them back and they jumped the fence. I'm like, that's not what I don't need to be visualizing that. Puts me in a state of worry and concern and negativeness. So I changed my eyes from that channel. I went to next channel. It was the Channel 2 Action News with a murder in DeKalb County. I don't want to see that. Not when I'm really visualizing myself, creating the body while I'm working out that's going to get me that looking good on that free trip, or that trip that I can pay for to be on the beach and smiling and laughing. I went to the next screen and it was a fight on a basketball court that was playing on ESPN. It was negative, 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 on all the screens. And that's how I'm starting my day. We have to be intentional. The world is going to distract us and make us believe that we can't do these things everywhere we go. You sit in a doctor's office and what are they playing? Health, bad health, this. You got to do this. This isn't right. The news channel, everybody dying and they killing and they carjacking. You have to be intentional, carrying the book to the doctor's office and reading the book while you're in there. Putting your headphones on and listening to what you can do and what is possible. And I might be listening to some trap music and it might be T.I., but he said to me, I got to grind, don't stop. A hustle won't quit. Shine like no other. I'm on a whole nother level. That's what is in my headphones because I can't listen to and watch what's on ESPN. I gotta grind, won't stop. Hustle won't quit. Shine like no other. I forget the other part. Are y'all hearing me? The magic of believing is cultivating resilience. Life is going to happen. Now, one of these last parts in here, because I'm going over my time, is a scenario. That's right. Positivity. You have to be intentional about putting it in front of yourself. Is the last part. I didn't even get into the part about the women and the science of belief. It says women are more versatile. This is what he wrote in 1948, y'all. Women are more versatile, more adaptable, even though Napoleon declared that he made circumstances, most men are its victims of circumstances. While women, by our very nature of thinking, make circumstances serve them. Do you believe that? Like, this is literally a line you need to put up around you, that by the very nature of God making me a woman, I can make circumstances serve me. By our human nature as a woman. So not using the fact that we're a woman as I can't do these things because I was made a woman, but by the simple fact that we were made as a woman, we make circumstances serve us. So when something bad happens in your life, say to yourself, I will make this circumstance serve me, period. He did me wrong. I will make this circumstance serve me, period. She talking about me behind my back at the job. I will make this circumstance serve me. I was overcharged, wrong. I will make this circumstance serve me. And then you get to the work of figuring out how you make it serve you as opposed to using the circumstance to hold us back. In 1948, when all things were against us as women, we became to have the abilities and the things that we have access to right now, because in 1948, when all things were against us, we made the circumstances serve us, which is why we have access to the things that we have now. So instead of screaming that they don't pay us as much as we should, make the circumstance serve us. I'm going over today, but I mean, it's probably a good thing because, excuse me, it's the last chapter of this book. All right. It's the last chapter. So on page 159, he says, a successful, as we go into belief, makes things happen. This is about to be the T right here. Belief makes things happen. Somebody drop that in the comments. Belief makes things happen. So here's an example of that. A successful book saleswoman on page 159 in The Magic of Believing told me that if she was satisfied that a customer had the money, so this is not a circumstance where, oh, the customer didn't have the money. A customer has the money and they really wanted to purchase a book, but was hesitating between two choices. All right, so y'all picture in this situation, she sells books and the customer has the money and they want the book, but they're hesitating. She would keep repeating to herself, not to the customer, repeating to herself, but directing her thoughts to the customer, the title of the one best suited to the customer. So let's say the book was The Magic of, but they were trying to, our next two books are called Side Hustle and Choose Your Enemies Wisely. So you have the money to buy the book that you want. You're saying, you know what, I want to buy the Side Hustle book. I have the money to buy it. But I'm still going back and forth between Side Hustle and Choosing Your Enemies Wisely. And so as a salesperson, I'm saying to myself, as you're trying to decide in the table across from me, I'm saying to myself, excuse me, the customer, which one I think is better for you. So I think for you that the book that is better for you is Choose Your Enemies Wisely. So I'm saying to myself, choose your enemy wisely. They're going to buy this book. They're going to choose the enemies wisely. They're going to buy this book, choose the wisely. Now, I'm not confused. Like, I'm saying it confidently that they're going to buy this book. If they're sitting there talking amongst themselves, like trying to decide, I'm saying to myself, they're going to buy this book, choose it. Now, here's the thing. If I'm saying that to myself, what am I more likely to say? Something that will encourage them to buy the book, choose it wisely, as opposed to if I'm sitting there thinking like, they're not going to buy this book. Then I'm probably going to say something consciously or subconsciously that's going to make them not buy the book because that's what I'm thinking to myself. So she says she's added that many of her sales were made by the thought directive power. An automobile executive told me that when he had a prospect who first had the money to purchase, he always said to himself, you're going to buy this car. You're going to buy this car. And the prospect did. This is the magic of believing. We talk ourselves out of. Now, did they say the person's credit was screwed? No. They didn't say the book owner was like, oh, they didn't have the money to buy, and I was still trying to convince them to buy. No, it was a correct prospect for what they were trying. They had the money and they wanted it. And in addition to, see, what happens is we don't believe in the magic of believing because we're trying to make people who not qualified, who not interested, and we say, oh, this don't work because they weren't qualified. Their credit score was jacked up. They didn't have the money. They live in paycheck to paycheck and didn't have the money. And I sat there saying to myself, but they're going to buy this, but they're going to buy this, but they're going to buy this. That is not how the magic, it's not a magic of believing in miracles. So first, as a seller of any product, if we're selling education, like as a teacher, I can't be sitting across from a kid and say, they're going to read on grade level. And they came to me 2 grade levels below. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. But I can say that they are going to make 1 year's progress by working with me. This child is going to make 1 year progress by working with me. And then I'm going to put things in front of them that's going to help them make 1 year progress by working with me. You understand what I'm saying? 1 + 1 is not going to equal 2,000, but it will equal 2, giving that we actually put 1 and 1 together. And it says, I'm aware that few people like to believe they are influenced by silent thoughts of others when it comes to a matter of purchasing anything or doing something. But the fact remains that all of us are subject to this subtle influence, be it telepathy or anything else you want to call it. The fact remains, too, that this invisible power exists, and little experimenting on your part will convince you that it's both formidable and active. Now, here's the part that is really good. Page 106. This is how I know without a shadow of a doubt that everything around us is doing everything possible for us to keep us from using the natural abilities that we have in us, right? It said, this book was written in 1948, that there was a Middle West manager who had sold out all of his clothing products and was now traveling the country. And this man says for more than 30 years, he had been a member of one of the largest and oldest secret organizations in the world, which embraces the theme of believing from A to Izzard. But I, like thousands of others, never had my mind open to it, and I never realized the truth contained therein. However, several years ago, I attended a series of lectures on the subject of mind control. Book was written in 1948. This man, who was a part of a secret society, said he attended a conference where the lecture was teaching them about mind control. Oh, so we automatically believe that 50 years later, they not putting these people, whoever these people are, have had 50 years of learning how to control the masses' mind. 50 years of practice, you don't think they got it down packed by now? Oh, okay. I'm going to keep reading. And it says, I could see how it would work in our business to a tremendous advantage, and I used it. Needless to say, our business started to increase as soon as I put it to work, and it has been increasing ever since. During the Depression, when firms like ours were having a terrific struggle, we consistently made money. And when I sold out my interest, I guess I can say with all modesty that I was at the top. So either are you going to be someone whose mind is being controlled, or are you going to be one that can control your own mind? See, I'm not teaching this book to say that you should be out here controlling other people's mind. I'm just saying you need to learn how to control your own so other people don't. And that's the T. The magic of believing. The classic guide to unlocking the power of your mind. People have spent their entire lives figuring out how to control your mind when you have it in yourself to be able to control it yourself. Week book that we'll be reading. I'm going to share my screen. And show you the next book that we're reading. This is the next book. It is called Side Hustle by Chris. From Idea to Income in 27 Days. He also wrote the book, The $100 Startup. So we're going to read this as we're heading into the spring season. It's a perfect time to jump on a side hustle and carry an idea. You know, spring brings that. And then let me show you this other book that we're reading after that. So the next book, somebody drop that in the comments. It is Side Hustle, From Idea. And then the next one is Choose Your Enemies Wisely. We've already read one book by this guy. Let me share this screen so you can see this book. Share screen. Choose Your Enemies Wisely. We've read one book by this person last year, and it is, I guess I can just click on it. Choose Your Enemies Wisely, Business Planning for the Audacious Few. So that means everybody's not going to catch it. But choose your enemies wisely. Now, I will say this about choosing your enemies wisely. I am confident that Choose Your Enemies Wisely, the book that he wrote, came from the 48 Laws of Power. And I'm seeing a delay. So I don't know if y'all seen the delay too. Thank you, Cherie. Side Hustle and Choose Your Enemies Wisely are the next two books we're reading. So Side Hustle will be for April and Choose Your Enemies Wisely will be for May. And if you want to throw in something to listen to, like I physically read books, but if you want to throw in something to listen to, go to YouTube and put in the 48 Laws of Power. And they have so many videos that break, because it's a very thick book. I have it. And it is boring, but it's not exciting. It's thick. It starts off with stories from like kings and queens and how they've applied these powers. So I'm telling you, go watch a video. And if you feel inclined then to buy the book and read it, go ahead. But the 48 Laws of Power, one of the laws is how to choose your enemies wisely. So I'm confident that Pat read that book and he took out that one law and created a whole book from that one law. So go to YouTube and listen to the 48 Laws of Power. I have one saved. And if you're in my Facebook group after the Tuesday tea, I will share some videos that I've watched as a reminder of the 48 Laws of Power, because I've read the book years ago. And then my husband bought me, he didn't know I had read it years ago. And then like 10 years ago, I read that book. And then my husband didn't know I had read it. So he brought me the book. So I actually have the physical book here. And then as a reminder, like in the shower a couple days ago, because somebody had mentioned it to me, was like, have you ever read the 48 Laws of Power? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, let me go rewatch it. Let me go refresh myself. And it was funny as I was listening to it, I was like, ooh, I think she was trying to use some of those on me. But it's good. It's a good book. So I will see you back here for the next Tuesday tea with me. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/The Christy Farmer. You can catch all 4 of these parts that I've broken down, the magic of believing, if you took something away from today. And go ahead and comment over there so that more people can see these Tuesday teas. All right. Love y'all. Be blessed. Be safe. And I'll see you back here next week for the Tuesday tea with me.